This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. Coming up in today's episode, I will be joined by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our closing markets. But first, I'm joined by Jeremiah Nemechek of NOVUS as we talk about the importance of piglet health and how that helps to set up a pig to maximize its potential in the long run.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Jeremiah Nemechek. He is with NOVUS and works on the nutrition side. Jeremiah, could you tell us your role at the company and what you're involved in day to day?
Yeah, so my role within NOVUS is a tech service nutritionist, and specifically for North America. So what I'm doing every day is visiting with our customers, talking to them about their solutions, and figuring out how, from a nutrition standpoint, can we help solve those.
So you are the perfect person to talk to today, because I know at NOVUS you are here at World Pork Expo and really talking about the importance of the nursery stage for piglets, and then of course trying to maximize the potential of those pigs. And of course nutrition plays a big role in that. So where's the starting point? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously when we think about the challenges we're having in the industry, they go across all phases of production, but one of the key ones that we look at and that we're focusing at least recently is with the young pig, with the nursery pig. We've realized that you need to build a stronger piglet early, right after weaning, in order for them to succeed later in life as well. It's not just that one point in time. If you can help set them up for more success later, that's one of the keys. Nutrition obviously plays a big role in that.
So is the big idea kind of thinking that you need to have that pig ready to face those stressors at that early stage?
Absolutely. And that's both the vulnerable pigs, so maybe the smaller, lightweight ones, but also you see some of those heavier, robust, what seemingly good pigs hit the nursery and still don't always succeed. So we're thinking about all of those nursery pigs when we're talking about this.
So where are those areas where a pig might be a little bit nutrient deficient or have an issue? What are something that you would see in that instance?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about nutrient deficiencies and those types of things, I mean, oftentimes a lot of us formulating diets, we have a pretty good grasp on what the requirements are for the animal. But that still has to get to the animal. It has to get to in a form that they can eat, and they have to actually want to eat it as well. So if they're facing a disease challenge, they may not eat as much. And so there's challenges with getting the nutrients to the pig, and then once it also gets to the pig, it needs to be in bioavailable, readily available forms. And so it's not just knowing what to feed, it's actually all the steps of getting it to them in a form that's available and that they can utilize best.
So where does NOVUS come into that equation then in helping to make that nutrient readily available for that uptake?
Yeah, so the way that NOVUS plays in this is we actually have multiple solutions that fit into this nursery space. Lately, we've really been spending a lot more time, and it's based on the interest of our customers and the problems they're facing, on the organic acid side of things. I mean, this is a category of ingredient that's been around for a while, but we have recently introduced, I would say, some more innovative ways of delivering our organic acid, specifically benzoic acid, to the pig. So, for example, when a pig eats feed and organic acid goes through the entire digestive tract, but some of those nutrients and ingredients might not always get to the end of the digestive tract. And so we found a way to embed our benzoic acid into a fat matrix to then help it be protected to get to all the points that it needs to get to within that pig's GI tract.
So we've heard it, year over year in recent years about producers just continuing to improve their efficiency and their ability to raise pigs and just really getting very, very good at it. We know that. And you can just kind of see the little pieces here and there that we've gotten better at to make these pigs, I guess, reach that potential that we keep talking about, haven't we?
Yeah, look, we've gotten so much better. We've made a lot of great progress, both nutritionally or even outside of that in terms of management and helping build a stronger pig. But we want to keep improving. Continuous improvement is where we want to go. So even if it's incremental, smaller improvements that we can do, we're really looking for those. And it used to be that it was just right after weaning with these young pigs that we needed the improvements. We've also realized that some of these challenges are persisting to late nursery that maybe didn't used to follow that trend. And so we're also trying to think about the entire nursery period as well.
He is Jeremiah Nemechek with Novus, my guest here today. Jeremiah, is there anything else you'd like to let our Iowa producers, our Iowa listeners know about when it comes to Novus and what you're working on?
No, just the last thing I would mention would be that you can find information about us at novusint.com. Aside from that, we've got a lot of people located in and around the Midwest that hopefully we can connect and help the best we can.
Jeremiah Nemechek with Novus here at World Pork Expo 2025. Jeremiah, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it, and have a great rest of the expo.
Thank you.
Thank you to Jeremiah Nemechek of Novus for joining today's show. It is time now for our closing markets, and I will be joined by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. But first, a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. You're watching Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Time now for closing markets, and I'm joined by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. Yesterday, Kenan, we got the reports from USDA, and for the most part, they were in line with expectations. How did trade go today in the grain side?
Yeah, so no bullish surprises, but I guess for the positive, there's no real bearish surprises yesterday on the report. And so trade opened up and it was very negative overnight. I was able to recover some of those. Corn's still down here going into closing, but not down as much. Soybeans turned positive at the end of the day. And maybe one thing to note on the report is winter wheat acres were the same, but the harvested acres from the USDA, they decreased those, which should have a decrease in some of the winter wheat production. Well, winter wheat production was huge. It makes it less bad. So it's basically less bad news. So some positives here. And you see wheat being up. Some of the European runs from earlier today show some dryness over Canada. So spring wheat is positive here today. And then I guess one other story is the Senate passed that big, beautiful bill, which includes the 45Z information. It still has to go to the House, but soybean oil was up nicely on the day on that information.
So, Kenan, as we think about the rest of the week then following the reports, we know we have a WASDE report coming out next week. Of course, we have no trading on Friday because of the 4th of July. So as we think about what could be moving the marketplace here the rest of the week, is it just strictly watching weather? As I would imagine, we've moved on from those reports pretty quickly.
Yeah, weather is going to be the big thing here. The stocks are out, and now we're going to be patiently waiting weather. Weather has been, I guess, one way you could look at weather is everything's been really good across wide swaths of the U.S., not everywhere, but across wide swaths. So I guess any deviation from that is worse than where we are now. Corn conditions came in yesterday higher, soybeans were flat. Could be a story if we get some heat, lack of precipitation, and some of those weather runs coming out of the 3-day weekend, moving into a WASDE report. Could see maybe some type of bullish news off of that, but that's depending on the weather, which up to this point has not been a good marketing plan, counting on it being unfavorable weather.
So let's take a look at the other side of the ag marketplace now. How did the livestock trade today?
Yeah, I guess you could say a interesting day in the cattle market. Announcement last night that they were going to start reopening the border in phases on July 7th to Mexico for feeder cattle imports. Feeders opened up the day down significantly higher, and they closed down today. So that would be the big news in that cattle market. Market reacting negatively to that, but was not limit down. Clawed some of the initial losses back, but pretty down day for trading of cattle after a few very positive days.
And that is just obviously going off of the headline, but like you mentioned, Kenan, it is a kind of a slow rollout of or I shouldn't say slow, but a phased opening of the border once again. And I believe they're actually starting with the border with Arizona because they feel a little bit more, secure with that border in terms of disease prevention. So it's basically going to be a rollout that's not going to happen all at once in terms of the border opening back up. Do I have that right?
As far as I understand, yeah, that's why its phase is going to happen in parts, but I don't know if there's some political pressure there. It's a big line item. Cattle numbers and placements have been lower, so I'm sure there is some southern cattle feeders who are very interested and anticipating buying some more feeder cattle from some of those places where they normally source them. So we'll just have to see how it goes. And I haven't seen any reports of screwworm further north than some of those reports in southern Mexico. So now it's always something to monitor. If they find one up higher, I'm sure the border will close again. It's probably going to be a fluid situation, and as fast as it can open, it can close depending where and if they detect the pest.
He is Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. Go to agmarket.net to find all the contact information to get in touch with Kenan and the rest of the team, and all of the resources from agmarket.net as well. Kenan, thanks so much for the time. Always appreciate it, and we'll speak again soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good day.
Thank you to Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for joining today's show. Let's take a look at how the markets closed today, and we can find that information anytime under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
July corn closes down a half cent at $4.20 even. July soybeans up a half cent at $10.24 3/4. July soybean meal down $2.10 at $2.6920. July soybean oil up $1.25 at $53.76. Chicago wheat up 8.5 at $5.37 1/4. Minneapolis wheat down 5 cents at $5.98. Kansas City hard red wheat up 4 3/4 at $5.10 3/4. July oats up 1 1/4 at $3.88 even. On the Merc, August live cattle down 3.13 at $210.75. August feeder cattle down 4.65 at $306.03. July lean hogs down $1.10 at $109 even. July pork cutout down $2.28 at $118.05. Class 3 milk down 22 cents at $17.55.
That wraps up our closing markets for today and brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can follow us on social media at Facebook and X, and you can listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. That's also where you'll find our daily episodes of our Iowa Ag Matters podcast. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Ashton Jolly, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.